I'm calling this meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Redmond City Council held on Tuesday, April 9th, 2024, commencing at 6:30 p.m. Council members in attendance are Council President Kritzer, Council Vice President Forsyth, Council Member Nueva Camina, Council Member Salahuddin, and Council Member Stewart. I think that's all who I see online. This special meeting is being held to interview the Library Board of Trustees candidate Naveen. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to mess this up. Yajaman. Excellent. Marilee Leon, Vice Chair of the Library Board of Trustees, will introduce the candidate.
Good evening, everyone. I'm excited to introduce you to Naveen, our candidate for the Redmond Library Board of Trustees. Naveen has been a resident of Redmond for 18 years, and you can see his love for the library and passion for community bonds from the moment you meet him. Naveen has nurtured his daughter's love of books using KCLS's services over the years. He has extensive volunteer and philanthropic experience, including serving as an industry advisory council member for Code.org and as a judge, coach, and volunteer for First Lego League. With Naveen's appointment, we hope to better serve and represent our community's needs, especially our teen and young adult patrons.
Thank you. And if you'd like to say a few words, that would be great.
Absolutely. First off, thank you to the council. Thank you to the mayor. Marilee, thank you very much for a great introduction. So I am privileged and honored to be here, and I really thank this group for giving me this opportunity to serve a community that is my home for the last 18 years. We have raised our family here. We have seen Redmond grow like anything. I mean, it's been amazing. I have worked here as well, so Redmond has been part of my work life and family life for a long time. So I'm looking forward to speaking with you all, share my love and passion to serve on the library board. And I truly believe libraries is a great resource for our community, and it only strengthens Redmond's, say, vantage point as the knowledge worker community. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And Councilmember Anderson and Councilmember Fields have joined us as well. Are there questions for the candidate this evening? Councilmember Anderson.
Thank you so much for volunteering. Really appreciate the dedicated service of all of our volunteers, so we're welcoming you as well. My favorite question for library board is, what is your favorite book?
Oh, thank you. So I'm privileged and honored to be part of the library board. Actually, I have a lot of books that I'm reading. My favorite author is Malcolm Gladwell. He has written a lot of great books. So most recently, though, I've been reading Adam Grant, Think Again. It's a phenomenal book, and it's a great way to kind of combine human psychology with business and all the intricacies of how you can actually apply a lot of the psychology principles, scientific thinking to everyday life. So it's an amazing book.
Thank you. Great question. Council President.
Great answer on the last question. I'm a fan of those authors as well. I guess I'm curious to hear what unique skills and perspective you think you'll be able to bring to add to the library board's work.
Thank you for the question. So first off, I consider library to be an integral part of my life and my family's life. One of the things that I really cherish about the library is growing up, my daughter used to spend a lot of time at the Redmond Library. She used to run down all of the aisles just reading books. I truly believe that has impacted her to the point where she has grown up to be an awesome young lady with an open mind, and that was because of books. And that's a personal life experience that I can bring to bear. That's one. The second is my professional experience has given me a vantage point of being able to lead lots of different initiatives, work with a lot of different stakeholders, and understand their expectations, and make sure that I'm able to deliver through my team and my organization on their expectations. So I'll bring that experience. And more recently, one of the things that I've been doing is supporting several organizations in India which are more focused around philanthropic activity towards underprivileged communities. And that is actually one of the things that I truly believe that I would like to explore with the rest of the board members to figure out how we can actually bring many of the library services to those underprivileged community within Redmond. I know there are pockets of Redmond community that don't have, for example, physical access to the library, and also some of the online access and the other services. I would like to explore that and bring library services to those underprivileged folks in our community.
Thanks. I have 3 online, and then I'll go to Councilmember Fields. So, Council Vice President Forsythe.
Thanks. That answered a lot of my question, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts on bringing in diverse voices and a diversity of books, and how you will go about bringing in books that may differ from your own opinions.
That's a great question. Thank you for that question. So, in terms of bringing diverse points of view, one of the things that is happening in Redmond is from a demographics perspective. I think we have all seen that it's gone younger in terms of demographic. And I think we have an opportunity to engage that younger demographic, because I truly believe that for a city to be a place where younger folks see as a place where they can raise their families, they need to see, for example, school system and the library system being vital. And engaging that demographic is one of the critical things. That's a voice that I would like to engage, particularly through social media and the various, say, mechanisms that we engage that community through. The other aspect around bringing books that are outside of my point of view, that's an area where I'm definitely going to lean in on my board member community. I think we have a diverse board. I definitely will lean in on them to help me educate, number one. Number two, I think our library staff is great, and I think I would love to actually lean in on them to provide that kind of a perspective for me and educate me with my blind spots as well.
Thank you. Councilmember Salahuddin.
Yeah, thank you so much, and really appreciate your interest in this position. My question was around you alluded to it earlier, but I know that the King County Library System was actually second in the nation and third in the world in terms of digital checkouts in 2023, which is really fascinating, knowing just where our readership or consumption of different media is going. And so while we continue toward that trend, I actually, like your daughter, I grew up going to Redmond Library, and I think that space was just fantastic to help me grow. So do you have any ideas or thoughts, as we're transitioning to this more digital focus, to ensure that, our youth, our teens and young adults still use that physical presence, the library itself, and can find value there through, that non-digital lens?
Yeah. Thank you for that question, Councilmember Salahuddin. It's actually a really interesting question, and I think if you look at how technology is shaping, one of the things that is happening is the augmented reality world, and if you kind of apply the same thinking to how we can augment the digital, say, consumption of content, and if we create, say, physical experiences in the library to augment that, I think we can definitely attract a lot of the young people to the library. One of the things that we were talking during my interview with the committee was how we can actually engage our high schoolers to be more actively participating in the library. One of the concepts is the idea of service hours, and figuring out how we can actually provide more and make it more easier for them to get service hour credits being part of the library activities might be an interesting angle to actually bring them in first, as a first step. And then once they are here, providing them with those engaging experiences and diverse experiences, and applying probably some technology there, including, of course, the AR technology and VR technology. There's a bunch of things that we can do that is interesting. Definitely will need investment, but definitely opportunities for us to engage the youth and the younger community in the physical spaces rather than them just being consumers of digital content.
Thank you.
Councilmember Nueva Camina.
And thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for the very thorough, in-depth answers to the questions that we've had. Because I think that the library plays so many roles in our community and within our structure that often, unfortunately, can easily get overlooked. We started already discussing or bringing up the topics around inclusion and also equity within our communities, and that being a very important direction for us as a city, as a community. And of course, with equity and inclusion, it's very broad as far as like how many different ways that we can talk about equity and inclusion, whether that's racially, if it's socioeconomically. But specifically, what do you feel is the public library's role in promoting equity and inclusion in our community?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Council Member. So when I think about equity and inclusion, I think about empowerment. And knowledge is power. And libraries are your primary source for information, whether it's consumed digitally or whether physically, right? And if you are basically providing ways for the underprivileged or the folks who are not included to gain that knowledge, we are actually creating a platform for them to gain equity. So through knowledge being that power. So that's how I think of libraries actually facilitating and accelerating that ability to drive inclusion. That's one part of it. The second part is there are various communities, and we need to make sure that we have resources for all different communities, whether it's gender-based or whether it's, say, socially underprivileged. For example, financial literacy is a passion of mine because that I truly believe unlocks so much value and raises people to be more included and also, say, get ahead in their lives as well. And library will play a very active role. And I truly believe library is a great resource for making sure we drive financial literacy as well.
Great. Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Thank you, Mayor. So back 100 years ago when I was in elementary school, we called it borrowing. You borrow a book. Is that what we still do? We're borrowing things? Okay. So what do you think about the idea that the library could expand the kinds of things, like, for example, electric bikes or virtual reality devices, things that, when we go back to the equity and underprivileged, this would give them some sort of insight into what it is, rather than go out and buy something. They could actually have an electric bike for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and then make a more informed decision. Is that a role sometime in the future for libraries?
Great question. Thank you, Councilmember Fields. The way I kind of distinguish a little bit, I think there is a class of assets that are going to be empowering and more useful. And I think the AR sets, the VR sets that you talked about, absolutely, I truly see libraries playing an active role. Because if you think about the kinds of things that you can borrow today, DVDs were not available. It was primarily books. We added DVDs because they became a media that got consumed. Then we went to a much more digital format, right? And we made content available. Now, a lot of the content will, in the next, say, 10, 15 years, it'll be a very common place for people to consume content through those different devices, which are AR, VR devices. And again, we keep pace with the technology. from that perspective. And I do see those assets.
You know, and I appreciate that. And, you know, we think about VRs as games, but you really can, you know, I had one recently where you can actually wear the headset and you could experience what it's like to be blind.
Yes.
And that was a fascinating thing. And I can picture somebody doing a report or doing analysis. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there, you probably have seen some TV ads showing people learning how to do surgery as an example.
Yes, right.
So,
Great.
I mean, that became a tool for an education
Perfect.
purpose.
You got my vote. Thank you.
Councilmember Stewart?
Thank you so much, Naveen, for applying to serve on the board, and to your vice chair for bringing you tonight to meet with us. It's been fascinating to chat with you about your experience and your passion for the library. I'm a former library commissioner myself, so look where you can be one day. Watch out before you take that oath. But I just wanted to say thanks so much, and to share a couple pieces of advice and early work for yourself as you settle into your role. The library is such a hub of social services, so be sure to stop by Wednesday afternoons, see the resource fair, meet the organizations. The library is a place where folks who, whether it's need for housing assistance or for behavioral health therapies or any number of interventions that they might be looking for, they can find it all in one place at the library. So be sure to check that out. And I know the library also has a teen advisory board. So I'd be really curious to know how the Board of Trustees is listening to youth voice in your decision making and the direction you're providing to the city. And lastly, just your first maybe action item, come back and see us really soon. So the summer is always a season full of all the exciting reading programs. We have adult summer reading programs now too, because why are the kids the only ones that get to earn free pizza, you know? So be sure to come back. We have our items from the audience, or we can arrange something else, but come back and share what you guys have going on this summer, because we would like to promote that too. And obviously we have a new senior and community center opening next door that we know the library is going to be programming in eventually as well. So just stay in touch. We would love to hear from you guys. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Well, that is all of our council members with one question each. I don't see any reason why we can't put him on consent next week, so looking good. And I just want to thank Vice Chair for being here as well, and thank you, Naveen, for taking your time and being part of this and being willing to volunteer your time. Thank you, Council, for all the questions, and with that, we are adjourned.
Thank you.